Hello, Year 3, and welcome to your first comprehension session this week. So, we are in week 2 of remote learning, and this will be your first comprehension session this week. So, I know last week you started comprehension with Miss Lewis and you looked at fiction, non-fiction texts. So, you looked at a text about fire engines, which you did with her. And then you looked at another text about vehicles, which you tried to do a bit more independently. Now, today I'll be doing fiction with you. And for our fiction text, we will be looking at Fantastic Mr. Fox by Roald Dahl. But before I get into it, I want you to have a good think. I want you to think about what a fiction text is. What is a fiction text and how is it different to non-fiction? So when you're ready, if you just pause the screen and discuss it with someone near you. Fantastic. So a fiction text is a made-up story, so an imaginative stories, yeah? Whereas a non-fiction text is all about real stuff. It's biographies, it's facts and information about animals or about anything that is real or something that has happened. Now, our author the author for Fantastic Mr. Fox is Roald Dahl. Okay, now I'm going to get into it. So I will start reading the passage to you, and what I would like you to do is follow the passage with your fingers and your eyes. Okay, I know Miss Lewis did send this text out to your parents for you to look at while we do comprehension. So if you have printed it off or if you have received it by email, can you please have it up in front of you so you can follow the text while I read it. Pause the video now and grab the text and then come back when you're ready. Okay, fantastic. Fantastic Mr. Fox by Roald Dahl. Boggis was a chicken farmer. He kept thousands of chickens. He was enormously fat. This was because he ate 3 boiled chickens smothered with dumplings every day for breakfast, lunch, and supper. Bunce was a duck and goose farmer. He kept thousands of ducks and geese. He was a kind of pot-bellied dwarf. He was so short his chin would have been underwater in the shallow end of any swimming pool in the world. His food was donuts and goose livers. He mashed the livers into a disgusting paste and then stuffed the paste into the donuts. This diet gave him a tummy ache and a beastly temper. Bean was a turkey and apple farmer. He kept thousands of turkeys in an orchard full of apple trees. He never ate any food at all. Instead, he drank gallons of strong cider, which he made from the apples in his orchard. He was as thin as a pencil and the cleverest of them all. Okay. Now, what I'd like you to do is, I've read this story to you. I've read this passage to you, which you should have been following using your fingers and eyes. Now, if you can pause the video and read it by yourself independently to your adult or anyone near you. If you cannot read to your adult, that's okay. Read it to yourself. When you're ready, come back to the video. Fantastic. So now, what we are going to do is we are going to answer the questions related to this passage. So, like always, and like I've explained to you in the class, along the side here, you always have a box which shows you how many marks each question is worth. And in order for you to get the mark for the question, you need to do exactly what the question is asking you to do for you to find the answer. Now, you have some questions which are questions like this, so like multiple choice. Yeah, so where it gives you a question and it asks you to choose something from a few statements. Yeah, over here it says 2, so which means if you choose more than 2, you will not get a mark. You have to choose 2. If you choose 1, you will not get a mark either. Okay, because the question itself is worth 1 mark, which means in order for you to get that 1 mark, you need to choose 2. If you choose 1, you get 0. Yeah, so now let's get straight into it. So question number 1 is, why was Boggis so fat? So when we go back to the text, you don't need to read all of it again. You just need to skim read to see where they speak about Boggis. So we know that Boggis was spoken about in this first paragraph here. Now, if you can just pause the screen and answer that question, then when you're ready, come back and I'll explain how we found it and how I found it and what the answer is. Okay, fantastic. So the question was, why was Boggis so fat? So we know this paragraph here is where Boggis is spoken about. And it says Boggis was a chicken farmer. He kept thousands of chickens. He was enormously fat. This was because he ate 3 boiled chickens smothered with dumplings every day for breakfast, lunch, and supper. So what did you write down for the answer? Now, the answer to this question is, the answer to question number 1 is he is fat because he ate 3 boiled chickens smothered with dumplings for all his meals. Now, you don't need to write it word for word because it does not say find and copy. It just says, why was Boggis so fat? You need to have answered that in a full sentence. You can't just write ate loads of chickens. You need to write it in a full sentence. So you could write down, he was fat because he ate 3 boiled chickens for all his meals. Yeah. Now, the reason you know that is the answer is because if you look at the sentence before the full stop, it says he was enormously fat, and then it goes on to explain why by saying the word because. So you know this sentence where it says because he ate 3 boiled chickens is related to the previous sentence. It's an explanation for the previous sentence to tell you why he was so fat. Yeah. Now, question number 2. Question number 2 says, why do you think Bunce always had a beastly temper? Now, if you look over here in the brackets, it says paragraph 2, which means in order for you to find the answer to why do you think Bunce always had a beastly temper, you need to go and reread paragraph 2. You could skim read if you know how to skim read. Skim read is like just reading the sentence, reading the paragraph and picking out the main words which are related to the question. To make it easier for you, to make it easier for yourself, you can highlight the keywords. So it says, why think beastly temper, and paragraph 2. Now, because it says, why do you think, this question is asking you to infer, not predict. It is asking you to predict as well because it's asking you, what do you think? But at the same time, it's an inference question as well because you need to use your skills to try and work out what the sentence is telling you. So you must read between the lines. Now let's go to paragraph 2, and it says here, Bunce was he mashed the livers into a disgusting paste. His diet gave him a tummy ache and a beastly temper. So what I'd like you to do is pause the screen and try and find the answer within paragraph 2 to answer question number 2. And when you're ready, come back to the screen. So the answer to question number 2, which is, why do you think Bunce always had a beastly temper, is his diet gave him a tummy ache and a beastly temper. So because of his diet being so bad, he was always groggy. He was always in a horrible mood because his diet always gave him a tummy ache. So if you've written down his diet and tummy aches gave him a beastly temper, that is the correct answer. Reason being because he wasn't a very healthy person. Okay, now question number 3. Question number 3 says, which word tells you that mashed liver paste is unpleasant? So it says which word. For this, you need to be reading the word for you to understand the word in the context of the sentence. Yeah, so you need to try and read between the lines to understand what that word is telling you. You can also use a dictionary to answer this question. Okay, so you can grab your dictionary. What I'm going to do is go back up to the text. I'd like you to pause the video, and then I would like you to answer the question. So it says, which word tells you that mashed liver pate is unpleasant? So we're going to go back to the paragraph about bunts, because that is the only paragraph that spoke about livers. Okay, it says when you skim read and you come across when they're talking about, when Roald Dahl's talking about the mashed livers, it says he has mashed the livers into a disgusting paste and then stuffed the paste into the donuts. Which word in this paragraph tells you that the liver pate isn't nice? Fantastic is disgusting. Disgusting is the word that tells you it's very unpleasant, because disgusting is very revolting. It's not a nice feeling to have. Yeah, and it is a very unpleasant feeling to have. Fabulous. So now let's go to question number 4. So I explained this to you earlier. Yeah, but I will reread it and explain it to you. So question number 4 is, what does thin as a pencil in paragraph 3 tell you about bean? You need to choose 2. So remember, if you have, because this question is worth 1 mark, you have to choose the 2 correct answers. If you do not choose the 2 correct answers, you do not get a mark. Okay? So what does thin as a pencil in paragraph 3 tell you about bean? Does it tell you he is thin, he is tall, he is mean, or he stands up straight? So now think about a pencil. What does it look like? Yeah. And now let's go back to paragraph 3 and read about bean. So it says, Bean was a turkey and apple farmer. He kept thousands of turkeys in an orchard full of apple trees. He never ate any food at all. Instead, he drank gallons of strong cider, which he made from the apples in his orchard. He was as thin as a pencil and the cleverest of them all. So we know this is bogus because he just eats loads of turkeys and is fat. Then we know that Bunce is small, so this is Bunce. And we know that Bean is as thin as a pencil and he drinks cider and he's holding something that looks like a liquid that you would drink, and he is thin. So when you read the sentence, he was as thin as a pencil and the cleverest of them all, what do you think that is trying to tell you? So choose 2 out of these 4. Yeah, fantastic. So he is thin. If you look at it, if you look at the picture and you look at the sentence, yeah, look, in the picture he is the thinnest. Yeah, and over here it says he is as thin as a pencil. Now, in anywhere in the text does it say he is mean? No. Anywhere in the text does it say he stands up straight? No, because I don't feel like he's standing up straight there. Yeah. So what do you think it would be? Which 2 do you think it would be? Fantastic. It is the 2 that you should have chosen are he is thin, he is tall. Fabulous. Now, question number 5. Let's read it. It says, choose the best summary of the information about Bunce. Now, this question is worth 1 mark. Yeah. It says choose the best summary. So you have 4 summaries here, and you need to choose the best one, which gives you the most accurate information about Bunce. Okay. Now, the 4 that you have are: Bunce was short and fat. He had a bad temper because he ate too many jam donuts. Bunce was a duck and goose farmer who ate donuts filled with goose liver. This diet meant he was both fat and bad-tempered. Bunce kept his ducks and geese in a swimming pool. He fed them with donuts. He always had a tummy ache because he was bad-tempered. Now, Bunce had a bad temper, so he killed his geese and ate them stuffed into donuts. He was very short and fat. What I'd like you to do is pause the video here now and choose the best statement that gives you the most accurate information for Bunce. Okay, if you like, you can go back to the text of Fantastic Mr. Fox for it to help you. I'm just going to go back to the text, and if you can just reread the paragraph about Bunce, and when you are ready, come back to the screen. So I'm going to reread the paragraph to you, and then we'll go down and I'll answer the question for you, and the answer that you have, can you please mark it? Yeah. Okay. Bunce was a duck and goose farmer. He kept thousands of ducks and geese. He was a kind of pot-bellied dwarf. He was so short his chin would have been underwater in the shallow end of any swimming pool in the world. His food was donuts and goose livers. He mashed the livers into a disgusting paste and then stuffed the paste into the donuts. This gave him a tummy ache and a beastly temper. So when I go back down to question number 5, the first statement says Bunce was short and fat. He had a bad temper because he ate too many jam donuts. Do you think that is a correct summary? No, because nowhere in that paragraph does it talk about Bunce having jam donuts. We know he has goose liver donuts. Yeah, he fills his donuts up with goose liver paste. Now, so we know that isn't correct. Then the second statement says Bunce was a duck and goose farmer who ate donuts filled with goose liver. This diet meant he was both fat and bad-tempered. So we know Bunce was a duck and goose farmer, and he did eat donuts filled with goose liver. And we know his diet was really bad, which is why he was fat and bad-tempered. That could be an option. I'm not going to mark a ticket yet because I've still got 2 more statements to go through. Bunce kept his ducks and geese in a swimming pool. He fed them with donuts. He always had a tummy ache because he was bad-tempered. I'm not sure that is correct, because we know he didn't have a tummy ache because he was bad-tempered. We know he had a tummy ache because of the diet he had. So that can't be correct. And nowhere in the text does it say he fed the ducks and geese with donuts. It says he fed himself with donuts. Bunce had a bad temper, so he killed his geese and ate them stuffed into donuts. He was very short and fat. Okay, we know that's not correct because nowhere in that paragraph did it say anything about Bunce killing his geese. Okay, so we know the first one is incorrect. We know the second one could be correct. We know the third and fourth one are incorrect, which means statement number 2, which says Bunce was a duck and goose farmer who ate donuts filled with goose liver. This diet meant he was both fat and bad-tempered, is the correct one. So if you chose that, then you get a mark. So number 6. Why do you think the author organized this text into 3 paragraphs rather than one long paragraph? Now, have a look at the 3 paragraphs. Why did he organize the text into 3 separate paragraphs rather than one big paragraph? Pause the video now, think about it, write your answer, and then come back to the video. So the correct answer is that he was speaking about a new character in each paragraph. Okay, so this is how you could tell which paragraph was related to which character. So the first paragraph was about Boggis, the second about Bunce, and the third about Bean. So why do you think the author organized this text into 3 paragraphs rather than one long paragraph? This is because each paragraph was information about a different character. Okay, fantastic, year 3. So once you have done that, if you can pause the once you have done your once you have marked your work, can you please take a picture of your work, post it on Tapestry for me to have a look at and mark? Okay, I'll see you in your next video. Goodbye.